Did you know child labor could be fueling your electric vehicles? If not, good morning, and welcome to Business in Society News Channel. My name is Lauren Buckley, and this is your Boise State News. Today, we will be discussing if electric vehicles are actually helping out the environment, or if it is actually causing humanitarian issues. With this issue, we will be looking at the situation from a deontology view. Deontology is a study of the nature, duty, and obligation. Now, moving on to our story. With electric vehicles, you can think you are doing a good job for the environment by not giving out so much pollution. But have you ever considered how these vehicles are actually built? In a recent news article, The Dirty Secret of Electric Vehicles by Douglas Broom discusses how much child labor is going into helping electric vehicles out. This article is based on children of the Dominican Republic of Congo. In this area, it is a huge range of cobalt and produces 20% of the country's output. These children are earning less than $1 a day between the ages of 3 and 17. 3 and 17. Just think about that. Think about going to work at the age of 3, mining in these caves for less than $1. It's just so shocking to me. They are put to work because their families have no choice and need to provide food and clothes for themselves, but also to pay for school. Imagine paying for school at the age of 3. At the age of 3, I don't think I knew what half of anything was. So that is just crazy to hear. With working 12 hours throughout the day, they are suffering from chronic lung disease. In another report from the UN, it was reported that there are about 40,000 children put to work. 40,000 getting lung disease. It's astonishing. Going along with these horrible working conditions, there is no safety equipment to even try to protect them from the cobalt dust. And again, I would assume that Elon Musk or anybody that is dealing with electric vehicles could give a hand to these children in Congo with some safety, or just hire people themselves with huge equipment to go do it themselves. You know, there's a lot of ways around this. And yes, it is a serious risk. Then when talking about cobalt, you need to use gallons and gallons of water, which all the water is coming from the Congo town, and they're already at a scarcity of water. So again, they're just using all their water to help people for electric vehicles. That they have a heart. They have a heart. And the thing is, you don't even know if they are actually being told what this cobalt is for $1. Sorry, getting off track, but this is a serious issue that needs to be known about. Just because people think they're doing a good job for getting an electric vehicle to help out pollution, but that's all they think about. I'm now sending over to Kira to talk more about the humanitarian issue and have her show us a little bit of an ethical analysis. So take it away, Kira.
Thank you for starting us off there, Lauren. My name is Kira Climbs, and I will be diving into analysis of the child labor that is happening as a result of the resources needed for this industry. As Lauren just stated, in unfortunate news, electric cars are not only causing problems for their owners, but for people around the world, namely children. You may be thinking, why should I care? The answer is simple. The mining for materials used to make electric vehicles is being sourced using child labor. And in turn, some of those children are dying. There is a responsibility that the industries have to the people and places that provide them with their products. We will discuss whether or not actions of the electric vehicle industry are ethical and whether they are doing anything to try and improve this. Keep in mind that most of this analysis is based on deontology, which Lauren explained to us earlier. Now, that right off the bat should tell you this industry can be seen as unethical in the eyes of deontology. There are hundreds of sources that can come to the same conclusion. These industries have a duty to these countries and children that they are not fulfilling. When you have people working for you, doing something dangerous, you would think that they would be taken better care of. But that does not seem to be the case for this industry. Children are being killed and maimed mining for cobalt. This is something that everyone, not only the industry, should be concerned with. High-profile companies such as Tesla are complicit in these acts. They are not seemingly taking responsibility or trying to help the situation. At least that is what we have seen in the past, and might I say, recent past. It becomes clear that these children are being exploited. Now, I can tell you a statistic now. 60% of the world's cobalt mine comes from the Dominican Republic of the Congo. And who works in these mines? The children. There are many families who have lost their children because of this. There seems to be more of a priority for the materials than the lives of these innocent children. This is just one of the many statistics that can show you the severity of this issue. Now, let's discuss a bit of the ethical duty that the industry should or could be displaying. The duties that can be included are expansive. Options could be to send resources for the families who have already lost loved ones. At this time, I am not seeing any evidence of help for these families that have lost their children due to this mining. A goal could be to get the children out of the mines. While it's not safe for anyone to be mining cobalt, it surely could be a priority to get the children out of these mines. Now, looking for an alternative material or synthetic material could be something that is highly funded by this industry. This could be an option that could potentially get rid of the mines altogether. Now, these are just a few of the duties that may fall in line with deontology. These are all duty-based actions that can be taken by the industry to help those children and labor conditions. Now, on a more serious note, we could look at the true effects that cobalt mines have on children. I would like to make it a point that you see some of these children for yourself. Here is a photo of just a few of the lives that are affected by this industry. How does this make you feel that these children are in these conditions? Take a look at these children. The people that are being affected by this are innocent, them and their families. Just looking at this photo could provide a need for a sense of duty, a duty to protect and help those in need that the industry could be taking. There is a question that may be posed to this industry on why they are allowing this to happen. It needs to be someone or something's duty to help them. There are times when people think that their responsibility will fall onto someone else. When does it end? Eventually, someone needs to fulfill this responsibility. Now, there does seem to be some change happening. There are reports that companies such as Tesla, high profile, are trying to get rid of cobalt mines and their batteries altogether, eventually. This tells us two things. One, that they know there is something wrong with this industry right now. And two, that they are trying to be better. For the sake of deontology, this particular company is trying to be ethical. This is, though, unfortunately, not the only company who makes electric vehicles. Tesla finding a solution to get rid of cobalt could pave the way for other companies to do the same. Now, we know that as of now, the batteries still pertain a certain percentage of cobalt, and cost is always a factor in deciding this. So we will have to see if there are hard costs used with associating alternative or synthetic materials that could pave the way for a decision. If Tesla, this high priority company, decides to change, their social media presence, their popularity could sway the behavior of other companies. The true question that can be asked is, whether this is enough to do the bad ethical behavior of the past or if there is no saving this industry. Now, to send us off, humanitarian issues are not all that's at play in this industry. There are many issues that can be gone over, but we don't have all day. In this news broadcast so far, we have focused on one major issue, and that is child labor and the conditions that are affecting them. Now we will go on to the more environmental side of things with Miles.
Thank you, Kira. As she and Lauren pointed out, electronic vehicle production proves to be unethical due to the injustices resulting from child labor. I would like to offer another approach towards the subject. It is a common belief that electronic vehicles are safe for the environment. What if I told you it was the exact opposite? Today, I would like to explain the fallacies involved with electronic vehicle manufacturing. In South America, there is a region called the Lithium Triangle. This area is rich in lithium. In fact, 86 million tons of the world's lithium resources came from this location. Large corporations extract lithium to produce batteries for electric vehicles. The issue at hand is that the extraction of lithium has become detrimental to the environment. 500,000 gallons of water is used to extract 1 ton of lithium. Put that into perspective. The 86 million tons of lithium that have already been extracted use trillions of gallons of water in the process. It is depleting the natural resources in that area. The General Water Directorate, also known as the DGA, declared water depletion in the San Pedro and Vilama River basins, as well as a water shortage in the Salar de Atacama Basin. The San Pedro and Vilama basins once filled the Salar de Atacama, but now they are left without any water in them. And if this process continues, the Salar de Atacama basin will become the same. This affects the nearby communities as they are forced to limit their water usage for agriculture and for sustaining life. In fact, the surrounding area is slowly becoming desertified. It is becoming one of the driest places on earth. The corporations there use 65% of the water available to extract lithium. Compensation is not available or is not enough to repair the damage caused by large corporations because they are using unsustainable amounts of water to extract lithium, or the beloved white gold. As a result, the people there are suffering and the environmental impact is ridiculous. But it's not just South America alone. Other regions of the world are being affected as well. In Tibet, hydrochloric acid from lithium mining is affecting the water supply. In Nevada, research shows that fish are also being affected from lithium mining. In Australia, the amount of carbon dioxide emitted to extract lithium is insane. Think about it. Unsustainable amounts of water being used, water contamination, wildlife contamination, high amounts of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. And this is happening all over the world, all because we believe that electric vehicles will save the environment. Think about it that way. If this continues, it will have an unfathomable effect on the environment all around the world. Now, as I leave here, I want you to ask yourself this question. Is it environmentally responsible to buy an electric car? Now with Colton on the ethical analysis of our environmental issues. Colton, and then I just stop, right? Cut, right? And then, when you say it back to me, right? Colton, I mean, I'm sure if you're like reading this, then I just say, I'm Miles Santos, together with Lauren Buckley, Kira Climbs, and Cole Nelson. And we'd like to thank you all for watching. Till next time, and have a great day.
Thanks, Miles. We all agree that something must be done to combat the greatest threat to our existence, climate change. But are the methods ethical? Here, we will find out. First, let's take a look at these environmental impacts from the view of a utilitarian. The goal of utilitarianism is to achieve the greatest good for the greatest number. Reducing carbon emissions of the vehicles that we drive would help in achieving this, working toward a planet that we can continue to survive on. As it stands, electric vehicles are our best method to do so, and the available technology to power them are lithium batteries. As we know, mining for this resource is a dirty and destructive process that uses massive amounts of water and leaves behind desertified landscapes and contaminated drinking water for local inhabitants. Is this ethical? According to utilitarianism, it is. The suffering and contamination is secluded to those areas where this precious metal is mined. The benefit derived from this is significant. Reduced emissions means a healthier planet, which means humanity as a whole continues to thrive. Only a small fraction of the planet is negatively affected by these mining activities, but even they can enjoy the benefits of a healthy planet. Their living conditions may be worse, but at least they can continue living if climate change is reduced. Their sacrifice contributes to the greater good for all. But we still have not answered the question completely. Is it ethical? To do so, we must look at other philosophies of ethics. Next on the list is deontology, or duty-based ethics. In order to decide if our actions are ethical under this philosophy, we have to first determine who we owe a duty and to what duty we owe them. There's a duty owed to ourselves. We must ensure that through our actions, we reduce the impacts of climate change so that we can keep living on this planet. There's a duty owed to the local communities of the countries where lithium and other resources are mined. They too have the right to clean and survivable living conditions. Also, there are the producers of electric vehicles, their employees, as well as everyone in the supply chain who depend on these practices in order to earn a living. It is important to note that under deontology, human beings have a greater value than anything else, and their rights should never be compromised to the benefit of the majority. Keeping this in mind, we can refer to what is called the categorical imperative, which states in the first formulation that we must act in a way that we would expect everyone to act. To analyze this, we should put ourselves in the shoes of the people living within the lithium triangle and other places where these mining activities are conducted. Imagine if these places were in our own backyards and outside of our own cities. We would not be able to fully enjoy clean drinking water or have access to it because of how much is diverted to the mines. The water we would consume would be contaminated, the impacts of which would be degradational to our health. The beautiful scenery that we enjoy would be desertified, which means it would never be able to again return to lush greenery. It would never again be able to produce anything agriculturally, further limiting the availability of locally sourced food and labor. The second formulation of the categorical imperative states that we must treat humanity as an end rather than as a means only. The suffering of these people results in a means to an end, a survivable planet, but at what cost? Under this theory, the destruction of their homes is not ethical. The threats to their health and well-being is not ethical. Lastly, in our analysis, we must look at this issue through the lens of virtue-based ethics, and then we may be able to make our determination. Virtue ethics focus on what kind of people we should be rather than what actions are correct. This means having and developing character traits that help us to achieve a good life. The electric vehicle industry serves an important role in our lives. They are working to provide us with the means to continue living with the luxuries that we have ensuring that those same luxuries aren't contributing to rising global temperatures. This endeavor requires a degree of compassion, concern for others, respect for our planet, and courage to take risks. The means to do so, however, requires them to display unvirtuous traits. Knowingly destroying other people's standards of living to acquire the necessary materials is not compassionate. This demonstrates a blatant lack of regard for those areas, and in some cases can even be making the situation worse. Just the carbon footprint of the equipment used in these mines is evidence enough that this may be no more than a marketing scheme to adhere to our own values and concerns. They contradict their efforts for a healthy planet by exploiting these countries for their materials. What is being done in the Lithium Triangle and other places where it is mined is unacceptable for a virtuous person. There's no chance of developing the virtues required for the good life if this conduct continues the way that it is. As we look for ways to combat climate change, we must remember to do so in a way that ensures we can all continue to enjoy life on this planet. It may feel like you are doing the right thing, driving that electric car, but at what cost? Miles, back to you.